There you go, Joe.
Yeah, thank you. They've let me know I should ask y'all to keep it down because the microphone's a little far away from me.
So speak up.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Let's see. So I'm currently so first let me say hi, good morning to everybody, and congratulations to the new SEC members. Nice work. I'm so happy to be involved in this project with you guys, with the existing SEC, and with everybody in this room. I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One is kind of SEC orientation. I think besides you guys, I'm the newest SEC member. And I've discovered that nonprofits often have a board orientation for folks that join a board of directors, like the SEC essentially is right now, until Mr. Del Ra and Rules and Bylaws Committee can restructure us into a major party structure. We are actually legally a nonprofit corporation in Washington State, and I think we can learn a lot from nonprofit practices. One great practice, I think, is new board member orientation. So you all should have a packet that looks like this. I should have put a watermark across it that said draft or something, because this is not a complete orientation manual by any stretch. The first page is actually just a copy of the first page of a longer document that I am working on that's currently in kind of outline form. I would certainly appreciate any help with that document if anybody feels like helping me with my graphic design challenges or layout or editing. There's just a ton of great information that needs to be culled down for what's meaningful to us, and I think should be in a manual like this. So please take a look at it, and welcome to the new SEC members. I also want to talk about strategic planning. Existing SEC members are welcome to groan audibly if you'd like, because this is a topic that I've touched on before, let's put it that way. Let's see. I guess first I'd like to talk about why you might listen to me at all about strategic planning. I'd like to talk about myself, I guess. So thanks for giving me time on the agenda to do that. I'd like to talk about three things specifically. I'd like to talk about my political experience, I'd like to talk about my volunteer experience, and I'd like to talk about my professional experience. I have, as you've all heard me say, I was born into libertarianism. My dad founded the party before I was born. I went to my first National Libertarian Convention when I was 6 years old. And from then until sometime in my mid-20s, I'm now 39, sometime in my mid-20s, I went to all kinds of meetings, did all kinds of activism. So let's see, I got LP in various previous iterations of this organization. I was the Ron Paul 08 Seattle meetup coordinator. Let's see, I was involved with the C4L, the Campaign for Liberty that came out of that. I was also on the Washington Multifamily Housing Association Government Affairs Committee for about a year and a half. My volunteer work is nonprofit stuff. I've been involved with the Northwest Burn Foundation. I've been involved with a great organization called Seattle Works. I've been involved with, let's see, a good organization called Treehouse for Kids. Let's see, and I'm currently talking with a group called 501 Commons about doing some work with them. Professionally, I have, let's see, I've been in construction, project management, or really superintendent. I have done a bunch of business-to-business sales. Let's see. And currently, I'm a property management and small business consultant for the last 4 or 5 years. I'm not sure how to. I guess I'm a consultant. So yeah, like I said, for the LP, I've done all kinds of stuff. I've seen various previous iterations of this organization. Probably wasn't paying much attention before I was 10 or 12, but I've seen it, and I've been heavily involved, at least for 10, 15 years, prior to this iteration of this organization. I was the King County, well, no, I was the Seattle meetup organizer for Ron Paul 08, because the official campaign was, I think, a bit slow on the uptake, and well, let me just leave it there. I think I was effectively the King County chairman of the Ron Paul 08 campaign. Wasn't involved long with the Campaign for Liberty for various reasons that I'll love to bend your ear about if you'd like to hear it. And the Washington Multifamily Housing Association Government Affairs Committee, let's see, I was on the committee, worked very closely with their lobbyist named Catherine Hedrick, and had some real success there. Northwest Burn Foundation, Seattle Works, these, let's see. So I guess I'd like to mention there are fantastic nonprofits in Western Washington. I'd encourage every one of you to consider getting in touch with some charity, some charitable foundation you like, not only for the service and the joy that provides, but also what you can learn from these organizations. For example, 501 Commons, I'm really excited about what, so this is it's a nonprofit that consults to other nonprofits. So they help other nonprofits be more effective. They're like organizational development consultants for other nonprofits. These guys are funded by the Gates Foundation, Microsoft, Boeing, all the big, real deal nonprofit funders in Washington State. And as you may well know, the Gates Foundation doesn't fund anybody that doesn't really have their shit together. Excuse my language. As a construction superintendent, I guess, so if I'm talking about strategic planning, a construction project is nothing but a strategic plan. You've got to define what you want done. You've got to define the steps, that kind of stuff. Business to business sales, not so much strategic planning. The consulting I do now, absolute strategic planning. We have to create what's called a scope of work. We have to define what the win is and how we're going to do it. Then we have to do it before we get paid. So there's strategic planning there too. I guess I'd like to define strategy, or in the way I think we should. There's a accepted management theory definition of strategic planning that is the determination of basic long-term goals and objectives of an enterprise, the adoption of courses of action, and the allocation of resources necessary for carrying out those goals. So you ID goals, define the win, that kind of thing, and you make sure you've got and then you do the action and make sure you've got the resources. I'd like to also subjectively point out or kind of rate my experiences with these organizations for like how much win they've had. Not sure how to win on a scale of 1 to 5. My experience with the LP, I'm going to give it 1.5. RP08, I'm going to give it a 3. We didn't get him elected, obviously, but I know a lot of people that were involved in that effort that were only there for the potential it had at growing this movement. And I know a lot of us in this room agree that had some success. C4L, I'm going to give it a goose egg. Again, I'm a little bitter. I'd love to tell you all about that. Woonfa GAC, I'd say it's a 4. We had some real successes, stopped a fee. Northwest Burn Foundation, I'd say all of these are 5s. I've only been in email contact and filled out a web form and seen their website, but 501 Commons, especially because they're funded by the Gates Foundation, I guarantee you they're 5. Construction superintendent, I think it was my stepfather's company. He made a ton of money, so I'm gonna give that a 5. As a business-to-business salesperson, it wasn't the best. As a consultant, I'd say we're a solid 4. I'd also like to point out which of these organizations I know for sure do strategic planning processes, and it's not this one. We really didn't do it there. They told me to shove off when I told them that they might consider setting some goals. Woonfa GAC, we did it. We set legislative agendas and then made them happen. All of these, I guarantee, do strategic planning. construction jobs are strategic planning, and consulting, we do nothing but strategic planning. I bet you see a pattern here, right? You see some correlation here. I want to also point out that this correlation, again, it's totally subjective, not scientific, but I want to also point out that as a subjective judgment, this also exactly correlates to fun or joy or meaning. You know, these are the organizations that I've had the most fun working with. You know, had a ton of fun there. Let's see. So I guess that's why I think I might have something to say about strategic planning. So I want to give a few quotes that I think capture strategic planning, my feeling of strategic planning real well. Well, first of all, I want to say that strategic planning is not a document. That's a result of strategic planning. The strategic planning is actually a process. It's a meeting of minds. It's those that are interested in this kind of thing getting together and going through the often exhausting, hopefully really collaborative, hopefully really open and you know, that kind of, like I said, often exhausting. And it's real work to go through this process of IDing goals, figuring out what the actions are and doing them, and making sure you've got the funds to do them. So it's a big project. One that I think we should take on, one that I'm asking you guys to help kind of change the culture of this organization to doing that kind of thing. So if I may, I'd like to read a few quotes. Again, feel free to groan if you've heard them before. But first is from Dwight Eisenhower, who says, "In preparing for battle, I have always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable." And then Sun Tzu had a couple in The Art of War. "Victorious warriors win first and then go to war. Defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win." I think he means you plan the whole battle. You imagine the entire battle and you win it. You win every battle, so you win the war in your head before you ever step on the battlefield. Another is, "All men can see the tactics whereby I conquer, but what none can see is the strategy of which victory is evolved." I think we see a lot of tactics, but a lot of times those organizations that are kicking ass in this world, you don't see what happens in the boardrooms or over email to figure this stuff out. And it's a process. I mean, it's a big deal. There's also one that, you guys have definitely heard me say too much, but it's that tactics with, so the full quote, and it's misattributed to Sun Tzu, is "Strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory." So if you know what you want to do, but don't actually do it, it's going to take you a while. Best laid plans without action doesn't get you anywhere. But tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. So I want to talk about, just for the last minute here, I stood in this same place with the Campaign for Liberty, whatever it was, 6 years ago now, 5 years ago now, coming out of the 08 campaign. And I made this same pitch. Well, I didn't. Me and a brilliant friend of mine, a guy named Jay Wheeldryer, made this same pitch, and they didn't take it to heart. And I think we see, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Campaign for Liberty is not where we want to be in 5 or 6 years. What the Campaign for Liberty is right now is not the best I think this organization can do in 4 or 5 years. So I think we've got two paths. I'm going to call them, let's see, we've got one path that looks like this, and we've got one path that looks like this. I'm going to call this one SP for strategic planning, and this one D, because this is default. If we don't make the effort without heroic, noble leadership from Larry Nicholas and Michael Pickens and the rest of the SEC and everybody in this room, if we don't make the tremendous effort to change the culture of this organization, this, back since, 72? And back since the mid-80s and all of that, this is where we'll be. We'll have ups and downs. We'll have more people coming to meetings, and we'll be getting the word out there, and we'll be, donations will be up a little bit, but it's superficial and it's fleeting, because that stuff has happened every year or two for the last 40 years with this organization. That's default. That path is so well worn, we're going to have to climb out of it, excuse me, and it's going to be a project. Strategic planning goes this way. And I guess I'm asking everybody in this room, especially the SEC members, to take the personal responsibility to be or become the executive, leader, professionals that the cause of peace and freedom deserves. Thanks for listening. Yeah, I'd be happy to field questions if
You're not done
anybody
yet. You have to ask for the order.
Yeah, right.
Right?
I don't know, actually.